What's up, everybody? We got the penultimate episode of Fallout Season 2 this week, setting the stakes down in the vaults, over in Vegas, and with Bud's Buds while revealing new bits of history. Let's get into episode 207. We got started with yet another flashback, this one for Stephanie as she wakes up in the present. We saw her before the war, and she's a nasty Canadian with a dangerous ambition fueled by her mother's final words. The scene with her in the present was cool too, despite not being anything crazy, with the camera focusing on that freaky deaky empty eye socket that she's rocking these days. Then they doubled down on flashbacks for Steph, as we got another where she met Mr. and Mrs. Howard. She was working as a hotel maid in Vegas and looking for a job at Vault Tech. Coop introduces her to Hank, who's still zonked after last week, and her ambition did the rest, I guess. These were two really good flashbacks early in this episode. But moving on from the one-eyed psycho, I've seen enough videos and discussions about the games now that I recognize this helmet walking in the NCR outpost. At least, I think I did. I might be wrong. This looked like the courier's helmet to me, but if you played the games and I am wrong, let me know down in the comments below because like I said, I very well could be. Either way, it was a solid scene with our new trio, building the chemistry with the boys, something that Thaddeus is really trying to do with the ghoul, but it seems like the ghoul doesn't think they're the same type of creature. In fact, he seems to know, at least I thought this, what's coming for Thaddeus, just like when he reveals the NCR power armor to take out the death claws, this shit is clean. With that being said, we only got one scene with Norm here in 207, and it potentially connects back to Steph, as Norm comes to, kind of like how we got the flashback as Steph wakes up in the morning. Buds were talking about how impersonating management is punishable by death. Now, I honestly assume that she seduced Hank, got promoted, and got in kind of the right way, semi the right way, but I think this is something to keep an eye on from a rather disappointing side of the story this week. On top of that, there were two more scenes down in the vaults that had some great elements to them. For one, I'm just glad this side of the story bounced back this week because last week was rough. I liked what they did here, both visually and emotionally, with the Chet Drain scene, see a Never Woody, and then the tension between Stephanie and Betty in their scene was incredible. It would be a shame if either of them or all of them meet their end when the vault chain does. Hopefully, there's some way to keep them around. Then getting back to New Vegas, I thought this was a hilarious moment as they cross the strip. Thaddeus' arm just falls off, and I'm sure those of you who have played the games, your tinfoil hats are out on what this means for his future. Hopefully, in my opinion, I just hope that, he's still going to be around. But for me, it was just a great comedic scene, and that's nothing new. Johnny Pemberton is so damn good in this universe. On the other side of the gates in Vegas, we got an okie dokie from Lucy, and in the end, it was a misdirect. She plays her father's games after he thought he sold her on his plan, and honestly, I thought he did too, and then she cuffs him inside his little home simulation. This made me all the more confident in my Lucy Max school theory that they're going to restore order to the wasteland in season 3, and the table is set. The vault might be gone, so no home to go back to. Lucy's got the gold wristband, whatever it's called, I'm not quite sure, and Max is dripped out in the NCR armor that drew a crowd outside the strip. Everything is ready for their time. But getting back to the vaults, I jumped up like the Packers won the Super Bowl again when Chet said no and then exposed Steph and Vault 31. I fully apologize for doubting this last week, although I did say this was one way it could be great for Chet to save us, and then you've got the McLean family scattered across the wasteland with their home likely to be gone before they get back as Steph goes into panic mode. And kind of side note here, but I think Davy is a spy for Betty. Who knows if we're, ever going to find out if that's true or not, but he was being weird officiating the wedding, and this is really, it kind of did turn into maybe my favorite storyline of the episode. Then the Vegas side of things stayed strong with this dope showdown with the Deathclaw. I do hope we get to see Max fight the other ones next week while Lucy and the Ghoul are busy with their family drama, but this was dope even if this is all we get. Also, I assume this blaster was another game Easter egg, and even as someone who didn't play the games, I can still appreciate the world being brought to life in a different medium. However, as much as I enjoyed that fight, I want to focus on what was going on inside the buildings, inside the compounds in Vegas with both Lucy and the Ghoul, and I guess Cooper Howard too. First off, Ghoul returns to Robert House's base of operations, and I still love this set piece. He boots the computer up, puts the cold fusion in, and I'm jumping ahead here, but I'm just going character by character instead of chronological. We went into the finale with digital Robert House coming online. Pause. I can't wait to see that duo in their new forms in the finale. With Lucy, her scene connected to the flashback that I'm going to get to in just a second here, but this entire sequence was really the perfect demonstration of how beautifully they craft this story and just this show overall. Anyways, Lucy finds the Congresswoman's head, Coop knew her, and her brain is seemingly plugged in as a power source, and this is Robert House's little device that we saw him with when he met Cooper Howard. I don't even know what to think of this scene other than it being more evidence that Hank was an Enclave spy. All I know about this universe is that the Enclave had their tentacles everywhere. Finally, before the war, we got ourselves a Clancy Brown cameo. Coop gives the cold fusion to the Congresswoman, the one whose head Lucy finds in New Vegas, and the president, Clancy Brown. I'm gonna briefly dip into politics here because this scene captured our world perfectly. I'm just saying the president being connected to and or controlled by the Enclave, it's like nonfiction. But getting back to the fiction, this was a great episode in my opinion. They've really found their footing here in the back half of season 2. We got another phenomenal cameo in the form of Clancy Brown. Emotionally, I thought it was one of the stronger episodes from season 2, and it was simply a good penultimate episode too. Unless things go totally wrong, I think we're in for an epic finale next week. And so that's going to do it for my review of Fallout episode 207. As always, I want to know what you guys thought about this week's episode, so let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's video, smash that like button on your way out, and make sure you have a great day.